Okay, recording. Hello everyone, this is New. Today I'm making a memory library, or what I have been mentally referring to as a pensieve. Pensieve? Pensieve. From Harry Potter, you know the one. It's basically a miniature library, which means we're making teeny tiny books today. I got it into my head at the beginning of this year that I wanted to make a special present for Malice. I made the Lore Olympus doll for Zell, and that video went up on the channel a few weeks ago. And this is the gift I made for Malice, since their birthdays are actually in the same month. Originally, I wanted to do one of those exploding present boxes, you know, the ones people often fill with candies or photos. You see them on Pinterest a lot. However, Malice and I take a lot of photos, and I didn't want to have to pick only a few photos, and so as this project sort of stewed away in my brain cavity, eventually I settled on the idea of a miniature library where each book holds a set of photos from a day that we spent together. This is the best idea I could muster that allowed me to get as many photos in as I could without making something so enormous and unwieldy that poor Malice couldn't store it anywhere comfortably. The first step in this project was to figure out what photos I wanted to use and how big they should be. I did a lot of mucking around off camera, resizing photos and having them printed, but we'll get to that later. I made around 40 of these mini books, and I wish I had documented somewhere from start to finish how long this took me. It was an absurd amount of time and work. As far as the process goes, I ended up basically following a tutorial from Delightful, so I won't go into details too much. If you're interested in making tiny books, go check out her video, How to Make Doll-Sized Hardcover Books. The only advice I can add to her video is you need to be careful what kind of glue you use to glue the spines together. A lot of my books ended up being a little fragile, and I had to use tape to hold the pages together later in the process. So choosing a better quality glue or even using thread to bind the books might be a preferable option if you're looking to make something super sturdy. Honestly, even though I was grumbling earlier about how long these took to make, it was a super chill activity. I got into a rhythm of making a bunch of little books worth of pages and then letting them dry while I made the next set of covers, and then I constructed them while watching some game playthroughs, and it was done in probably 2 or 3 sessions. It's a craft that itches the satisfaction of completing something over and over, and when you're finished you feel really proud of your little mountain of miniature books. You can see here that I had all the pictures printed using the same printing service I used in my fan kit video, and because there were so many pages of stickers, it ended up being a little pricey, but I think because the quality of the photos is so much better this way, and then also I didn't have to worry about gluing them in, that it was well worth the price, at least for me. I decided that I wanted to paint each cover to represent what pictures were inside, and this was definitely more difficult than making the books themselves, but it was kind of a satisfying stretch of my creative muscles. I'm not much of an illustrator, and unfortunately I feel like as a creative I'm definitely a jack of all trades and a master of none in a lot of ways. Fortunately, I think that makes me very good at using what I've got to get where I need to go. In this case, I tried copying patterns from in the photos or choosing simple motifs for the front. Some of the book covers turned out hideous and I hated them, and some I was mad proud of, but in the end time was too tight for me to go back and redo or finesse them too much, which was also kind of freeing in its own way. There's something nice about working on this project where I didn't feel too stressed about making everything perfect, since there were so many little books that ended up being a piece of a bigger final project. I will say I started running out of juice towards the end though, and struggled to come up with new designs. There were 40 books, and somewhere along the way I think I lost one, so in the final project there were maybe 39. Somehow making them different every time was tricky. But we got there in the end. Final step for the mini books was to, of course, fill the pages. I tried in the beginning to put lots of stickers and decorations and treat them like mini scrapbooks, but it looked wrong for some reason, and I struggled to find a style that I really liked. In the end, I painted some paper in various colors, and I used the colored paper to write the event name and the date for the front page as a kind of accent page. Then I filled the book with the pictures, and the last pages were reserved for writing a little anecdote about what I remembered from that day. Because, maybe Malice is going to pull out these tiny books in 10 or 20 years and have no memory of a lot of the events within. So, and then, wash and repeat another 40 times. At this point in the project, I was beginning to have second thoughts. You know, maybe this is a completely insane, stupid idea. The ugly middle stage of a project is somehow amplified by 100 when you're making something to give to someone else, especially somebody who's creative, like a fellow creative, I guess. So not to get too sentimental on you all, but I make things for Zell quite a lot because she's an easy customer in the sense that she's happy with virtually anything you give her. Whereas Malice is a lot more like myself and has a very distinct style and is also a crafter and a creator. So I don't end up making things for her very often, and I feel kind of bad about it because making things is like my love language. So I wanted to put a lot of effort into this project because I think as a fellow crafter she'd appreciate the time and effort I put in, even if the end result is this kind of bizarre, unnecessary miniature library. If you saw my video about making fan merch for If My Friends Were Idols, you'd know that 2022 is the year of making oddly time-consuming and useless but sentimental gifts. So while I've been rambling away, On-Screen has resumed her quest to be the most tedious crafter in all the lands and has been making a miniature bookshelf. I actually bought heart-shaped gift boxes in an attempt to cut corners a little, and they were too small to fit all the books in. And also, they don't stand up by themselves because, you know, they're a heart shape. So I had a Thanos moment.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
And built a geometric little heart bookshelf, and then I painted it in rainbow streaks. There was a TikTok where someone was painting all their furniture like this in real life, and at the time of making this we'd been sending these TikToks back and forth to each other, but I can't find the original Save My Life anymore. So if anyone knows what I'm talking about, please let me know and I will give them credit in the comments or the description or something. As a final touch, I crocheted a tiny plant from Alice's memory bookshelf. I don't know if you want a teeny crochet plant tutorial, but you know, let me know. And now here's a montage of every book cover I made. So yeah, this was a deeply satisfying project and I love the outcome. As always, if I were to do it again, I'd fix a lot of things, you know, find a better way to assemble the books and stick the spines together maybe. Also fixed a few things about the construction of the bookshelf, but overall I'm calling this one a win. Malice seemed to really like it, and that's mostly all that matters in the end. If you've got any ideas for what I should make next, I'd love to hear them, and I hope you all have a great week. See you soon. Bye bye.